All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning, January 5th, 2022. We get together with our distribution partners most weekday mornings, right about 8 o'clock Central, usually start a minute or so early. We have different topics on strategies, success stories, and in general, we're here to support you. What we're going to go through today is discussing why you might want to consider being a regional vice president. Now, I realize when you look at the screen, there's nothing that says regional vice president. And I also realize that the two windows that's shared on the screen seem to be unrelated. But if you stick with me for a couple minutes, I'll tie it all together and it may profoundly change how you spend your time. So let's start on the left-hand side. So a number of you have asked for a position description or a job description that could be used if you're going to recruit white label partners. We are not MLM or network marketing. There's no cost to be a white label partner, no cost to enroll. There's no cost to be a regional vice president. So none of this has to do with getting you to pay to play. Regional vice presidents, quite simply, build a team of white label partners and earn an override. Each of you this morning, I invited you again to our training. It's always the same registration link. I also sent you the link from the training we did recently that looked at the economic model. So I'm not going to waste your time with that because either you've gone through it or you have access to it. But I do want to go through the position description on the left, talk about how to use it, and then I think the awe-inspiring moment will be how it ties to the right-hand side, but we'll get to that in a moment. So in terms of being able to describe to someone what is a white label partner, why would you want to become a white label partner? That's what we attempt to capture on a one-page form here. So our white label partners, we're looking for them nationwide. As far as a category, they would fall under the category of economic development. It's not a sales position. We're looking ideally to have at least one white label partner per county, per state. As far as the overview, we described that we're seeking a white label partner for each county of each state nationally. You get paid to help entrepreneurs improve their financial literacy and access capital. There's an outstanding earning potential with no cost to participate, and we have training and support available. As far as the position type, we have some people that work part-time, some that work full-time, very flexible. There is no prior experience necessary, multiple income streams, which we'll disclose to them here in a moment as we go down the page. And of course, there's no cost to enroll as a white label partner. You will want to change the instructions of when you use this, how they apply, because you're going to want them to apply with you. Maybe you want them to call you first. Maybe you have a web page where you have an online application, or maybe simply you want them to email you. But the reason this is highlighted is that you won't use this. You'll put in your own information. And then who should apply? Anyone. Now, if you want to go after some specific target audiences, you could go after insurance agents or real estate agents, stay-at-home moms. I mean, you could have different campaigns for recruitment if you wanted and tailor it to that, but this is the general one. All right, and so I can make this a little bit larger. So as far as background, we are building a national team of white label partners to facilitate the education of minorities and underserved populations about crucial financial literacy topics. And I'll pause there. You and I know that we live in a society that is rampant with financial illiteracy because our education system is oriented towards teaching people how to get a job, not how to create jobs. And so there's so much that you and I can do. Just yesterday's training, I think, was great. We went through module 3 in detail of the 4-module curriculum that you and I help entrepreneurs with. And it's information absolutely that they need to know. This financial literacy information we use is strong, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. But we want to help them have access to capital for startup and early stage small businesses. So as a white label partner, they're able to control the pricing, the terms, and manage the client process. So that's the background. So I'm not pitching this to you. We're having a conversation that if you wanted to become a regional vice president and earn a significant amount of money as overrides, how are you going to develop white label partners? Well, having this document, this one-page position description, most likely will help you. But we'll get back to that more in a moment. All right, so what is it they do? Because there's going to be a few key questions that prospective white label partners are going to ask. I'm going to address a little bit of it here, and then I'm going to hit, I think, what's going to be a home run as I transition over to the right side of the screen, but we'll get to that in a moment. So what are the key duties? White label partners mentor and enroll clients through 4 modules. Now, you and I know they can delegate that mentoring, but by default, they're responsible for mentoring. Built off of an award-winning curriculum developed by the FDIC and promoted by the SBA. For anyone to question the credibility is foolish. It's again, illustrating illiteracy on their part. You know how strong this curriculum is. We went through one of the 4 modules in detail yesterday. This is, again, not something that we cooked up in the back room. It was developed by the FDIC. It's promoted by the SBA. It is legitimate, credible, and absolutely needed. And so then we just give them a quick overview of what the 4 modules covers to get them familiar with it. Now, do they have to have expertise in all this? Of course not. You and I know we've got the participant guides and the instructor guides and the on-demand white label training videos and the support and all of that. But this gives them an understanding of what they would be mentoring off of. Compensation. This is going to be key, right? Anytime you're talking to someone about a position, they're going to want to know, what do I do, which we just covered, and what do I get paid? Now, they're going to also ask, where do the clients come from? We're going to talk about that as we blend over to the right-hand side of the screen. We'll come back to that in a moment. So what is the compensation? Well, we're talking in terms of gross income here, so keep that in mind. You and I know there's a difference between gross income and net income. I love pizza. You've heard me talk about pizzas. When I go to Domino's and I get a $5.99 medium, is that their profit? No, that's their gross income per pizza. All right, so white label partners set their own fee structure. And again, if you're if you're the regional vice president, you're coaching and mentoring them, so you can give them some guidance, but ultimately they'll decide what the fee structure is. Because as you know, white label partners contract with the clients directly and they get to set their own fees. But the 3 primary revenue streams that we're trying to convey here are the refundable deposits. Now, something that you know and I know that I think a lot of people don't know is that refundable deposits are not taxable income. So let's say that client or that white label partner went out and enrolled 8 clients in January. That's the goal. We want to help at least 8 clients per month for each white label partner. So if they're bringing in $2,500 of gross income, what is 2,500 times 8? It's $20,000. How much of that is taxable according to the IRS tax code? 0. Deposits are not taxable income. If you and I go down to the local apartment complex and rent a 2-bedroom apartment, and let's say we give them $1,000 deposit, whatever they charge, do they have to pay taxes on that $1,000? No. Deposits are not taxable income. We've just helped this person, this white label partner, have a plan to create $20,000 of gross income per month. We're only on bullet number 1 of 3, revenue stream 1 of 3, and this is not taxable income. We're not talking about cheating the system or doing something gray. Deposits are not taxable income. Talk to any CPA, talk to any accountant, talk to any bookkeeper. Deposits are not taxable. $20,000 a month times 12, we're at $240,000, almost $250,000 a year of non-taxable income. Second revenue stream are the performance fees for the client's capital raise. Again, the white label partner gets to choose what the performance fee is. You'll coach them. Typically, it's 10%. Could be more, could be less. It's up to them. You'll coach them. But that typically will generate another $10,000 of gross income per client. and then the key person policies for those of you that are licensed as life insurance agents. So this, in summary, is the one-page position description that you, if you want to be a regional vice president, which doesn't cost anything, you don't have to pay there's no production requirements, there's not even a contract, so there's no strings attached to being a regional vice president. But if you wanted to earn overrides, then you could develop a team of white label partners, and then you earn an override off of their production, and you get to pick what that override is. Okay, all right, so now what I want to do is I want to pivot from the left side to the right side, because I think you're going to get a lot of interest. You could post this on Craigslist, on Indeed, on Monster, on social media, through the local unemployment agency, however you want to promote it. That's where you come into play as an RVP. But I think there's going to be 2 more questions that each prospective white label partner will ask or should ask, and we want to make sure you're prepared to answer those, and it's not on the sheet. The first thing that they're going to ask is, where do the leads come from? And the second is, well, what's my pitch? Those are 2 things that any business development professional needs to know. Where am I going to get my leads from? And what's the pitch? So let's go through that now, and that ties to the right-hand side of the screen. Where do the leads come from? Well, they could come from lots of different places, but quite simply, we've kind of given up the battle in the sense that any of you that need free leads, we will just send you a spreadsheet of free leads. We have access to the same database that you have called Taxable, used to be called Sales Genie, used to be called Reference USA. It's a database of just about every business in the United States. You can sort it by geography, age of business, size of business in terms of revenue, time in business, home-based, not home-based, good credit, bad credit. Again, there's no secret, but we have access to the database. We've told you all about how to use it, but what we've just decided to do is if a white label partner needs leads, we'll just run the list and email them an Excel spreadsheet. So there's no shortage of leads, free leads. So that's going to be one of the 2 questions that an astute prospective white label partner will ask you beyond what's covered here, because they'll ask, what do I do? How much do I get paid? And then if they're smart, they'll have 2 more questions. Number 1, where do the leads come from? Again, leads can come from lots of different places. We've talked about different things. You can go out and teach, you can get referral partners, so forth. But ultimately, if you or they just simply need a list of small businesses to reach out to, we'll provide it, no cost. Okay, so that's one of the 2 questions that an astute prospective white label partner will ask. The second of which, for those that are especially sharp, they're going to ask you, what's the pitch? Now, what that means is anyone that's in business development, you could have the same offering, but you might develop different campaigns. So for instance, with the access to capital, you could do a campaign off of the 100% real estate financing. You could do one off of guaranteed $100,000. You could do one off of unsecured working capital. There's different campaigns. Here is absolutely the campaign that is almost guaranteed to work 50% of the time, which means you should reasonably close 50% of your prospects. So on the right-hand side here, it is one of the landing pages, and Scott, our Chief Marketing Officer, can help you develop landing pages if you need help, or you can do it on your own. That doesn't matter. But the pitch that I would recommend, which it's the call to action, right? You might have an email going out, you might have a text going out, you might just be having a conversation, but an effective business development professional has a very motivating call to action. What do you do next? Kind of like what I said over here. If someone's interested in joining your team as a white label partner, what do you want them to do? Here, I just put in an example email, but that's the call to action on this. Now I'm answering the question that if they were smart enough to know, Okay, where do my leads come from? We've covered that. If they don't have their own leads, we'll provide them to you, to them, free, no problem. What's the pitch? The pitch that works best, I believe, is, hey, get a free funding proposal. Let's see what you qualify for. And so I'll go ahead and make this larger. So this is one of the campaigns that you could use. You might have a real estate, 100% real estate finance, and other campaigns. I don't care about any of those right now. I don't want to talk about those. I want to talk about what is going to generate a very high level of conversions. That's the simplest to explain. Because what you don't want to do is be a regional vice president, bring on a bunch of white label partners, and they're trying to get a PhD in this subject matter. They're trying to overcomplicate it. The draw to action you want is, hey, let's get you, meaning the prospective client for the white label partner, of which you'll get an override for, let's get you a free funding proposal. Let's see what you qualify for. And so if you set up a landing page, it could look like this, or you could change it up if you want. But the bottom line is, this is a way to get a cold lead to become a warm lead, is to offer them something free as a next step. Now, you could offer them a million different things free. You could offer to go teach them something free. But I'll tell you what, the truth is, most of these small businesses don't want to be taught. Most of them just want capital. So, and we can't just say, oh, well, contact me and I'll wire you over $100,000. That's too good to be true. But what you can offer is, hey, contact me and I'll get you a free funding proposal. We'll see what you qualify for now. That is absolutely the most effective way to move someone from a cold lead to a warm lead, is to get a free funding proposal. Now, let's talk about that process. So either you can develop something like this or Scott can create it for you. I don't care about that, but you need some conduit to move from that pitch to action. Scott can create a landing page like this, and ultimately then you collect some just basic information. And then what happens is, then you would send them the funding proposal application. And that's what we do. And it works remarkably well. And so the funding proposal application has your terms and conditions, but on top of it, it has the funding proposal application. So they complete the information that you need to collect, and we can make sure you have that if you don't know what to collect. So you collect the basic information so we can get them a funding proposal. And at the same time, they have the opportunity to complete the terms and conditions. You could have this set up where it's done all online or via Adobe or DocuSign or what have you. But it's remarkably effective as a call to action. So I'd love to get the feedback, questions, concerns that any of you have. And I've got a couple questions posted up now I'll go through. But let me summarize. If you're interested in being a leader and generating override income, then you should consider becoming a regional vice president. Doesn't cost anything. There's no contract. There's no minimum production. There's no responsibility for the production of your white label partners. And that was Zahn's question. So Zahn's kind of asking, well, wait, if I become an RVP and I bring on one or more white label partners, what if they don't produce? Well, shame on them. I mean, that's between you and them. You're not held accountable for their production or lack of production. So, and we've gotten rid of production requirements. So you can become an RVP. There's no contract that you have to sign. There's no minimum production. There's no liability for you if your white label partners don't produce. So it's good. But the concept that we're covering here is, if you wanted to become an RVP, you can develop white label partners. That sheet that I just showed you is a pretty good one to give them a rundown. And then what you'd want to do is have them sign your joint venture agreement. The joint venture agreement is between you and them, stating what you're going to do for them and what the revenue split is. And so that's step one. Well, step one is to get a prospective white label partner. Step two is you would enter into a joint venture agreement with them. That's between you and them. Can be as formal or informal as you want, but we recommend it be in writing. Step three is real simple. Then go ahead and go to the iimfl.org website, I can show you if we need. And then you want to go ahead and submit them in here. So they already have on this, it's red, right? So you already have your agreement signed with them. It's a non-circumvent, non-compete, you're protected, and then they're plugged in and we run with them. Again, a sophisticated white label partner of yours will typically ask two questions. Where are the leads going to come from? If they don't have their own source of leads, you and I will take care of it for them. No cost to you, no cost to them. Problem solved. And then secondly, they're going to ask, what's the pitch? How do I get people to move forward? And there's many different campaigns you could run. We just covered it. But what I recommend is pitching, get a free funding proposal. Everyone gets approved regardless of circumstances. And you can either develop a landing page yourself or have Scott create it. Here's where the basic information is gathered. And then you get to them the funding proposal application. The way that we do it is we collect the information here and then we send them an Adobe. The first page has the funding proposal application questionnaire, and then it's followed by the terms and conditions. And so by them doing that, they have enrolled as a client. And you're going to find that probably over 50% of the people that you send that to, if you follow this process, will sign up. So for those of you that are white label partners that don't want to be a regional vice president, that's fine, but you can follow the same strategy. You need you need leads, and we'll provide that if you need. We've covered that several times, but you need a good, simple call to action. Hey, let's get you a funding proposal. Let's see what you qualify for. And that's how we do it. Okay, so let's dig into the rest of your questions. So Joseph asked, could you have white label partners in different parts of the country? Yes, sir. And with you being a realtor, I would expect, Joseph, that you'd go gangbusters targeting white label partners that are also real estate agents. Zahn had asked earlier, and I kind of responded to that. Is a RVP somehow responsible for the performance of their white label partners? And the answer is no, there's no economic responsibility. The expectation is that you'll work with them and mentor them and help them be successful, but there's no financial responsibility you have for their lack of production or lack of compliance. No strings attached. Zahn says, excellent. Samuel asked, are the leads free? Absolutely. But again, I want to step back before I answer that just in isolation. There's many different ways to get leads. And so we're not having that thorough discussion right now. However, if you or any of your team just simply wants us to send you a spreadsheet of small businesses, we will do that for you, no cost, no obligation. Yeah, I mean, you need to be in good standing, so we're not wasting our time on people that are not involved, but yeah, free. Samuel asked about the template for the joint venture agreement, because again, that's step one, right? If you want to be a regional vice president, you don't need to come sign up with us. You don't need to sign some contract, sign your life away. You don't need to pay any money. What you need to do is take action, right? That's how we make money, is we take action. So before you start signing up white label partners, Samuel and others, as a RVP, you need to have a joint venture agreement that defines the role between you and them. And so we've talked about before, you can get that off of Rocket Lawyer or Law Depot. There are different websites that you can go get a template for the joint venture agreement. That's between you and them. We're purposefully staying arm's length away from that, because it's up to you how you want to set that up. If you want to take a 25% override, that's what you put in the agreement. So between you and them, so everybody knows it. If you want more, you want less. If you want to give them an economic incentive to go out and find other white label partners and give them an override too, you can do that. You can be as creative as you want to be. All right, Samuel, thank you. Hopefully I answered your questions. Holy smokes, LJ has applications for 41 partners. Shazam. That is incredible. So yes, I'll send out the recording for today and include the one pager here that I sent. I send it as just a screenshot, but I'll send it out in Word so you all have it and you can edit it. So that's fine. I'll get that to you. LJ 41. That is awesome. And I'm telling you, LJ is very good. But any of us, if you just start posting this in different places appropriately, but Indeed's great. Craigslist, you get kind of a mixed bag, but there's just no shortage of people that's looking to help others and make an income. And this is a great proposition. So yes, sir, I'll get that to you. Yeah, Mr. Rich is confirming. That's right. So please don't confuse what we're talking about with the regional VP versus the white label partner. The regional VPs, there's no contract that you have to sign. There's no minimum production. No contract you need to sign with us. Again, we strongly encourage you to have a written agreement between you as a RVP and the white label partners you're working with to clarify how the money's going to flow. But Mr. Rich is right. So when you do bring a white label partner on, we are expecting them to not be dabblers. We are expecting them to be active, and we define active and in good standing as helping at least 8 clients a month, 2 a week on average. So you're right, Mr. Rich. We're not changing anything about the white label partner role. We're just talking about how, if you want, and it doesn't matter to me, you can do it or not do it, but if you want to earn overrides as an RVP, you can have white label partners on your team. And again, just clarifying, as a regional vice president, we've made it simple. There's no minimum production requirements. There's no financial penalties if you don't do anything. That's fine. We know it's not going to be the right fit for everyone. Sandy asked a good question. So yes, currently all of our regional vice presidents are also white label partners. And the reason that we've done that, it's twofold. If you walk the walk, you'll understand it better. But frankly, by being a white label partner, you'll understand the process. And so then you can describe and support your team of white label partners. Because if we didn't request, or I guess require, that regional vice presidents also be a white label partner, then we'd have to come up with some whole new training campaign. But we don't have to do that, because it's just you being a white label partner and helping other people replicate that and earning a 25% override. So thank you for pointing that out. So RVPs do need to be a white label partner, because it's part of the training, and you're going to have more confidence and competence because you're walking the walk as well. Okay, so both Winston and Bernard are asking a follow-up question. So as a regional, let me make this smaller. As a regional vice president, you determine what override that you want to make from the production of the white label partners on your team. And that should be expressly and clearly stated in the agreement you have with them. So what you're saying is, hey, I'll help mentor you, I'll help coach you, I'll make sure that you're successful, but we're going to do some sort of revenue split. And so you could do a 50-50 split with them, which would give you a 25% override. Maybe that's too much, maybe you want less, maybe you want more, but you're bringing a deal to the table that costs them nothing, that's going to allow them to earn 6 or 7 figures a year. I think it's just fine for you to be able to share in that revenue by being their mentor, their coach, so forth. Now, they'll still be able to plug into our normal training and resources, but you're an extra level. We're building our team, building our hierarchy out with a new layer, and that layer are regional vice presidents. All right, so hopefully that answered both Winston and Bernard's questions. Mr. Rich says, thank you. You're welcome. All right, so we've got 2 minutes left here. Who has questions? I'll do a quick summary, and then we'll take any remaining questions. So what we talked about today first was, here is an updated position description that if you wanted to be a regional vice president, you could use to help recruit white label partners. Obviously, you're going to want to change what's highlighted in yellow here because you're going to want your applicants to come to you. Just like LJ posted recently, I don't know how recently, he's got 41 applicants. I'm confident that each of you can get a lot of applicants. Again, you can do some targeted. Again, Joseph is a realtor, so he might post the position, excuse me, realtors wanted for economic development. Some of you are really into targeting insurance agents. So the job title, you could manipulate some to better reflect your target audience, but regardless, here is something that I believe is turnkey and ready for you to use. We'll get it to you in a editable Word format. Secondly, what we know is that sophisticated business developers will not be satisfied with what's on here. They're going to ask two more questions. Where do the leads come from? And what's the pitch? We've decided we're not going to mess around, F around, not screw around. We'll provide the leads. We've shown you where we get the leads, but if you just want us to provide you or them spreadsheets of leads, small businesses, great. We'll do it. We want to support you. That's number one. And then number two, they're very likely to ask, if they're astute, what's the pitch? And the pitch that we're recommending that the white label partners take out to the market is, hey, let's get you a free funding proposal. Let's see how much you qualify for. And if you replicate the system that I showed, where you bring the lead in and then you send that, you can do it either online or send them an Adobe or DocuSign that has the funding proposal app on the front, and then it has the terms and conditions as subsequent pages. You have them complete and e-sign it. Bam, you've got a client. You've got a client. So you have an effective door opener. You have an effective pitch. You have an easy call to action. It's not, hey, wouldn't you like to sign up? Or, hey, it's 4 weeks and we're going to build a business plan, this and that, this and that. No, keep it simple. Hey, let's get you a free funding proposal and see what we qualify for. I can get this over to you in about 2 minutes. And I'm telling you, over half the people will sign it up. If you use Adobe like us, you can get it set up where it does daily reminders. If you are using online terms and conditions with Scott or not with Scott, there can be follow-ups to help prompt people until they complete it, so forth. So it's up to you how you want to get the document in their hands, but once they complete that, then we can get them the funding proposal. All right, so I think we covered what we needed, and I ended up running a minute long, so I'm sorry. So I will get an editable version, a Word version of this out to you along with the recording. If you want to be a regional vice president, it's easy. Just take action. Get your joint venture agreement created. You can get it from Law Depot or Rocket Lawyer or Legal Shield, wherever you want, but that's what's going to define the relationship and comp model between you and the white label partners you recruit. Then you go plug them in on the white label page, the red I showed you a few minutes ago, and then we implement and you make overrides. If they're effective in just helping 8 clients a month, you should be generating $25,000 a month override from each white label partner. And we discussed that on a recent training where we did the economic model and spreadsheet. All right, well, thanks everyone. We'll see you back tomorrow morning. Have a good day.